what's wrong with me, I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life, everyday, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. I'm kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well I just wanna be happy, how to get there? Glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome. But try to do what you love when it's said and done. Cause there's so many differences in each of us. Trust your gut, it can show you what you want. Living life, everyday, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Living life, everyday.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Marko Yamashita show. I am your host, Marko Yamashita, running a very quick Guerilla, very scuffed Guerilla stream. I had not intended on streaming at all this morning, so please forgive me if I am talking extremely fast off the cuff and sound very rushed. I had been inundated with messages overnight into the morning here, and as I indicated last night, well, for me it was last night, I have doctor's appointments later on this morning. However, the messages that I have received, sorry, I'm going to put on some background music just so there is not a unbearable amount of nothingness behind me. The messages I have received overnight, I felt did take precedence over anything that essentially is what I had planned on doing this morning. So anyways, let me get to the meat of the matter here. So this morning, I have checked my DMs and my email box, so on and so forth, and I have received a number of requests to not run the live stream or in any kind of format the planned presentation that I have for tonight regarding Kawaii Generation 3 and everything that has come up to this point, and then the statement by Reina, okay, and then statements made by Charlotte along the way. Some of that was hate mail. Put that aside. Put it out of the mind. Okay, that had no bearing on it. Some of it were legitimate concerns about the direction of where things were headed. I appreciate those concerns. I do not want to discount your concerns. I do appreciate your concerns, especially because out of what happened last night, it did take a personal direction, especially in regards to the personal, what I felt was a personal attack towards me, in regards to what Charlotte said it directed towards me. So I did want to address that personally, even though it was a personal call out. It was also a personal response. For those of you who felt uncomfortable with that, I do apologize. it's one of those things where, you know, when you're in the public and you're called out in public, it's gonna be something that is seen in public in some way, shape, or form. Perhaps that was not the best way of handling it. However, that's the way I chose to handle it. Now, in regards to the actual content and the video itself, the concerns that have been brought to me, the actual legitimate concerns that have been brought to me, I do feel that they are legitimate. I have presented in a very short format to them what I feel is a legitimate argument and response to why I feel it's important to talk about what I feel is erroneous and are legitimate questions in regards to the narrative that is being presented to us, the public. And let me remind you, I was somebody who was a very deep-seated fan of Kawaii Generation 1 up to when I had my personal altercation with Charlotte, and that's when I had my general falling out with Kawaii as a whole. That being said, I had always been a silent fan of Reina as a whole. And as I stated last night, I had stayed a subscribed person of Reina, which is the only reason why I knew that she, was, still active, and I was aware of her activities. I did have somebody say, "Hey, did you see the statement of that Reina had put out?" And by the time that I had, already started getting involved in all this stuff, I had already gotten way behind, and what I was already kind of half elbow deep in everything. I hadn't even gotten around to it yet. I hadn't seen it yet. So I was like a day late on actually watching that because I was already trying to follow up on what was going on with the ladies that were, already graduated. I hadn't even gotten to that part yet. All right. With that being said, I had not had, constant notifications coming from Reina's channel because I was not actively constantly in her chat or in her feeds or in her, in her streams daily. But I had been a silent follower of her channel since I found out about Kawaii as a whole. I didn't follow Gen 2, but I did follow Gen 1. And after the whole Charlotte incident, I still followed Reina because Reina, like I said last night, besides Charlotte, Reina was the only other one I really actually followed in Gen 1. And I appreciated Reina. My whole heart, I appreciate her. She was probably the only other one out of like the evening ones. For me, it was evening that I watch on a regular basis. All right. Now, I presented that evidence towards the parties that had legitimate concerns. Them realizing the amount of questions and legitimate concerns I have towards the narrative that is being presented, and the fact that I can splay that out in public. I can splay that out, put it up, diagram it out, and say, look, you're putting your talent out there and you're laying out this narrative. Here is a graphical detail of what your talent is saying. Here are the actual gaps in the logic of from when your talent is saying this is when it supposedly happened to this is when events are supposedly playing out, but yet your talent is supposedly in the forest with their family, but yet they're also working on this and that and sharing information with other talent while they're on vacation, but out of contact, but still in contact, but out of the loop, but in the loop, so on and so forth. You know, and again, I'm not. This is not a stream to argue those points. However, these are the concerns I have. You know, when you start actually looking at it beyond the emotional aspect of everything, and start looking at beyond the actual fan aspect of it, and looking at it as an objective observer, you can start asking questions of, is this where's the logic in all this? It doesn't make sense. You know, there has to be something more to it. And the amount of discourse that the questions that I can pose and would pose in public would only add more fuel to the fire. And as somebody who was a genuine subscriber to my channel, and who's somebody who has been with me for a significant amount of time, pointing out to me the other night, you know, they asked me, they said, you know, you can point this all out, and you can be absolutely right on all of this. However, are you know, at the end of it, even if you are right, are you, is it going to help any? You know what I'm saying? Is it going to help, or is it just going to cause more chaos and damage? Should you spend, you know, this time helping those four move on, or should you spend this time proving how wrong Kawaii is with their narrative? And it made me think. It really did. And I appreciate that. Because if I want to be truthful to myself and to why I am doing what I'm doing, I don't want to put my listeners through any more of what I'm going through on a daily basis when I see all this. Because it hurts me the most. And I don't want to put you guys through that. I really don't. That's not what my channel is supposed to be about, right? My channel is supposed to be about bringing you guys together and having fun, right? Yeah, we're supposed to, you know, we're supposed to bring the truth out. We're supposed to know the truth, and we're supposed to talk about the truth. But we're not supposed to be We're not supposed to be warriors of justice that go out and shove justice down other people's throats, right? Our justice is supposed to be that we stand for the truth, not that we take a sword and shove it down their throats when they don't listen, right? That's not what we're about. We're supposed to be a safe haven that stands for truth. And if I want to be honest to myself, I think I forgot about that for a second. So I appreciate it. I appreciate the couple of you that reached out to me and said, you know, who are you? Who are you right now? Because I don't recognize the person that you've become. So, what I'm going to do is I am going to pull the video for tonight. Yes, I do have all the work that I've done. It's not going to go away. It's not going to be deleted. I am going to keep a hold of it. And should something happen that we do need to apply it, I will present it. But I will present it in a respectful manner that will be purely to defend those girls' honors and not to attack the agency or the remaining talent of production Kawaii. I want to make that perfectly clear. And for those of you who remain fans of production Kawaii, I want to say this, all right? I understand that the remaining talent of production Kawaii work extremely hard. I don't doubt that for a single second. I do not doubt in my mind that production Kawaii Hey, how's it going? Did you just get here, or did you, have you been here since the beginning? I just saw your chat pop in. Welcome, by the way. Did you just get here? Okay, so I just actually addressed your message from a little from last night. How long do you have? Do you have a moment? Please tell me you have a moment. Give me 5 minutes. Do you have 5 minutes? Do you have 2 minutes? Please tell me you can just stay for a little bit. Maybe 40 minutes? Oh, that's fine. I don't need 40 minutes. If the power doesn't cut, okay. Let's pray the power doesn't cut out, okay? All right. So I just want to tell you, because I actually had just finished talking about something that you personally said to me, and man, you just missed it. You just missed it. Okay. So, for those of you that are just popping in, quick recap, all right? So for those of you that are just popping in, I just actually announced that I will be pulling tonight's live stream, and it will not be going up in any type of video format. So the video and the live stream will be pulled tonight. It's not going to be going up in any kind of format. And the reason for it, in fact, my friend, is in no small part because of something that you said to me. There has also been several other people that reached out to me in concern because of the information that I would be sharing, and the fact that the information that I would be putting out and laying out in front of people would in fact cause a significant amount of more discourse and a lot more questions than it would solve, in the way of, you know, what's going on, you know, what the problems are, how is any of this going to fix what's currently happening, and ultimately how is this going to help the remaining talent and the talent that left, and you know, any capacity to help any of them move on. You know what I'm saying? And you know, if I were to combine what you said to me along with a couple other people, the questions that were posed to me were, how is any of this going to help anybody in the end? You know, and what you told me and what a lot of other people told me reminded me that I wanted, you know, the reason why I do a lot of what I do and say the things that I say is because I want what I do for my channel to be a safe haven and a place to protect those who are either disenfranchised or to be who are being, you know, persecuted wrongly, not to go out and snipe and attack and to take down other people. And you, my friend, of all people, reminded me of that, and I thank you for it. When you said, I don't recognize who you are right now, it cut deep. It really did. And I thank you for it. And I'm not afraid to say that in public. Thank you, really. Yes, exactly. And I am extremely thankful for people like you. I'm not afraid for people to point out that I am being blinded or being driven by something that perhaps I'm, you know, I'm having tunnel vision about something, you know, and it's not, like I said last night, I'm only human, and it's not like I am it's not like I'm right 100% of the time. And even if I am right about a specific topic, it doesn't mean that just because I can be right about something or argue a specific point doesn't mean that I'm going to win the situation. And even if I win the situation, it doesn't mean that the situation is going to turn out positive. There are battles that you have to let go of in order to make in order for a more positive change to happen. Sometimes the bad things that come about because of a specific circumstance, it it's like what my it's like what my Japanese emoto Hoshinan was explaining to me. um and in case for those of you who don't understand what I'm referring to or going, what the fuck is he talking about? Hoshinan, Kanan Hoshinan is a Japanese VTuber who I consider my emoto, and she's completely okay with it, by the way. So don't think it's weird, because we play games together all the time. For her, it's in the evening. For me, it's in the morning. We play games together online when she streams and stuff. It's pretty cool. She was explaining to me that there are situations and circumstances where when you see something and it's wrong, and you see that you see it, and you bite your lip and you don't say anything, even though that and you're like, man, that is wrong. It's wrong. Oh, I really want to say something, but you don't. You shouldn't, because if you speak out about it, it's just gonna make the situation worse. And we're not talking about like, if you don't say something, you're just you're just an accomplice to it, or you're condoning it, or it's not that kind of scenario type thing, right? It's one of those things where that the consequence of your actions ultimately are not going to gain a net positive, either for yourself or for the person that it's happening to. And rather than doing something at that moment, if you do something positive at a later time, either for that person or for the event that happens, and you're able to gain a bigger or a better net positive, that's when you act. That's what she's trying to explain to me, right? And that's the situation that I'm in right now. And so that's the situation that you, my friend, were also reminding me of. And I appreciate that, because it is something that I was seriously blinded to, where I was essentially, seeing what was happening, and I'm like, well, that's wrong. Well, that's wrong. Well, I can prove that wrong. Well, this doesn't match that. Well, I gotta speak out about that. But in the end, you start looking at it objectively, even more objectively, and it's like, well, even if the consistencies are, can be pointed out, number one, I don't know all the facts. Number two, it's only one person's perspective versus, a global statement, and you start applying the logic even further, and you pull yourself even further out from the situation, and you pull yourself out even further from the perspective that you had just looked at, right? And then you start seeing the flaws in even your own logic. And then you start realizing, well, the chaos that I would cause and the misunderstandings that you might cause, or even the questions you might cause from what you're saying, can add even more questions by asking the same questions about your questions. And then you start finding out, well, you're not going to get yourself anywhere, and you're not going to be helping anyone in the first place. So in the end, what are you doing? And that's exactly what you reminded me of. And I appreciate that. And it's kind of like a smack on the head, And I actually kind of missed that kind of stuff when I was younger, because I used to have a friend who was older than me, and he would smack me on the back of the head when I would start thinking kind of stupid or say something stupid, and he was like, stop being an idiot, And it's like, because I would overthink at times, because I am an analytical thinker, and sometimes I do overanalyze things. Yeah, exactly. And we don't want things to snowball the wrong way. And for those four in particular, and that's, I'm actually glad I postponed everything a day to, because it gave me the opportunity to be reached out to in the first place. But two of the four have already had, very positive re-debuts, right? And we don't need to tarnish that. We don't need to bring them trouble. And Project Kawaii, or Production, I keep calling them Project Kawaii. Production Kawaii just started their, had their announcement for their project, Idol project, that's going to be, I think in LA in July. So I know that, that's already, pretty stressful for them, considering the circumstances. So I think that we need to, at least in my opinion, canceling, what, my op-ed, and in my stream. Hopefully things move on. Everyone's able to allow things to settle. And so long as their talent doesn't take any more pop shots at the talent that left, and the four talent that left don't take any pop shots back in return, and I know that the Gen 3 have read a lot or have heard a lot of what has been said, and they are, I know at least a couple of them really are biting their tongues right now, but they've remained quiet. So long as if the lines can be drawn and they stay on their respective sides, so they can move on, I think they'll be okay. You know, um, I already know from the last two re-debuts that there are some fans that are crossover from one to another, but the big stands from production Kawaii are not part of that. At least the ones I know that personally that are production Kawaii big stands didn't show up, or if they did show up, they donated anonymously and left. So so long as those troublemakers don't show up to cause havoc, I think it'll be okay. Because I've seen some of them in chat forums, and everything, talking trash, but that's that. Just real quickly, I'm gonna scroll through the comments here. How with Kawaii is there getting like what levels are problems better if people can't support those companies? They're on their way to bankruptcy. So people decide to cancel because. So people decide to cancel you because of Kawaii. They need to look. Stands right now. I wouldn't compare Kawaii to what Guerilla can tell. They're deliberately mistreating their talent. I don't see Kawaii doxing their talent because they're defaming them. When I see results of company doing bad things, history repeats itself. Remember, Blockbuster was laughing and denied Netflix becoming big. The future will just have to wait and see. Right now, both Kawaii gotta take the company seriously. I believe Kawaii can fix their situation and walk on us so much, and I'm happy to recover. Okay, so interesting conversation right there, and let me kind of jump in on that because let me I got about 23 minutes before I have to go. So me personally, I believe that Reina said a very interesting thing during her comments, and she actually provided a very interesting tidbit of information that I was not personally aware of. And she let it be known that Kawaii has 5 managers. Now, as far as if those managers are specific to what level or tier those managers are, whether there's like the 5 managers and then people above them that make decisions, and then those executives, and then those executives report to Loy Inc. Specifically. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't really looked at what their company structure is, as far as like how the corporate structure looks. But that being said, that there are 5 managers that are or were in charge of 10 talent, 9 talent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So at the time there were 11 talent. Now there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now there are 5 managers for 6 talent. Okay, yeah, math is hard. So there are now 5 managers for 6 talent. Okay, so but at the time there were 5 managers for 10 talent. So that means essentially that there was 1 manager for every 2 talent, um, which is a very interesting prospect because when you do, when you math it out, that means that every talent had basically they had for every 2 talent there was 1 manager, which is a very which is probably one of the best scenarios that you could possibly have because um, in a bigger company, you're lucky to have a manager for 1 manager for every 4 to 6 to maybe 8 talent. So that manager is split between in an 8 hour workday between that you may only get 2 hours a day with your manager, and then you also have to figure transition time for that manager between people, and they're either doing that transition on their own time or they're working that into their own work schedule, which means they're eating away at your time or their time. So figure that in, right? So having a manager giving you that amount of time in a company that is just a startup is actually a very good prospect. Now, as Reina had also indicated, production Kawaii had steadily been offering and giving the talent many additional perks. I'm going to call them perks because there's not really or benefits as for being a talent of production Kawaii. For when they started way at the beginning, I mean, most name brand games were pretty much off limits because they didn't have permissions for most things. I mean, if they played the Nintendo game, they could not do any. They had to turn all their monetization off just to play a Nintendo game. I don't know if they still do now or not. I haven't looked, but I mean, some of them, at least one of them, was playing a Capcom game that played Resident Evil. I mean, that's something. I mean, most companies, they shy away from Capcom because Capcom's draconian with with their monetization rules. I mean, that's something, right? So, and then I know Charlotte had mentioned that they're getting voice lessons twice a month now, which is not bad. Especially if they're getting ready for a concert, that's something. Especially if they're trying to push forward with an actual idol project and turning them from and this is kind of bleeding into what I was talking about with how HoloLive is doing things, where back in 2019 2020 they were specifically yeah, we want to kind of be like AKB48, but then they were nothing but gamers for a year and a half, and then they kind of sort of started bleeding into idolism with kind of sort of doing covers, and then they started getting really into covers, and then you slowly started seeing the HoloLive gamer crew, everyone, and Kuroni and Okayu and Mio and all of them, they were really starting to push them into singing. And I mean, Okayu and Kuroni were we really can't sing. I mean, we can do karaoke, but we're really uncomfortable with this kind of thing. But now they're just go at it, and then they're just constant now with it, and and they're really enjoying it now. But at the very beginning, they were like, I don't know about this, right? And you're starting to see that with production Kawaii now, where they were, I mean, if you look at Charlotte and you watch her very beginning portions of her content, she's like, I can't sing, I'm not an idol, I don't know what I'm doing, and that was either that was either an act or she was telling the truth. It's one or the other. I tend to believe that was the truth, that she really felt that way. I to this day, and I know I was really mean towards her last night, and that was partly emotion. But I do, in the bottom of my heart, honestly believe that she really likes and wants to sing, but she just does not have the confidence in herself, and that's why she really tries to hide behind the I can't sing, I don't know what I'm doing type of mentality. And that's why she like tries to duck out of her voice lessons, because she lacks confidence. That's my opinion. And I think that once she's able to gain more of that confidence, and she does it more, and she's and she does it on a more regular basis, and she gets that positive response, even though she outwardly shows that she hates the positive response, inwardly she really likes it. It's the classic, my throat's dry. It's the classic archetype. It's the classic archetype. And she fits it to a T, See, I can talk nice about her. People say I hate her. People really say I hate her. I don't hate her. I really don't. I've tried to be nice to her. I really have. When her cat passed away, I did try to reach out to her and try to be nice to her. And I did offer my condolences. I did also tell her, I hope you understand the pain that I went through when I lost my mother, because that's how I felt. And I think she took that the wrong way. But I know how it feels to lose a pet. I have 2 cats of my own that I love with a passion. I hug them every night. They sleep with me. My Siamese is 14 years. Gosh, he turned 15 this year. He's 15. I'm gonna lose him probably in another 5 years, and I'm gonna cry my ass off when I lose him. But I've had him since he was a little baby. I have pictures of him at 6 months old that I'll probably upload to Twitter later, because I mean that's how precious he was and he is to me. I have pictures of my Calico when she was 6 months old. I mean that's how much I love my cats. So I know what she went through. But I don't hate her. I don't hate production Kawaii, by the way. And I don't hate talent agencies. I hate what they do to people sometimes. And I hate what some of them become. And I do hate some of the rules and some of the expectations that they levy on their talent, because they are so either draconian, or they are so I don't want to say that they're archaic, um, but they are so restrictive that it to me it almost feels inhumane at times. You know what I'm saying? I don't, I really don't feel like I don't feel like the intention, and I'm glad you say that because I'm gonna comment on your I know your time is short, so I'm gonna comment on yours first, and then I'm gonna go back up to everyone else that made comments. Okay, um, I don't feel that my intention was to guilt trip. Um, my intention was to allow her to understand the comparison between what her loss was and what she was feeling to where I was when our altercation happened, so she could hopefully draw an understanding to where my thoughts were, or where my mind was when we were when we had our falling out, you know. And that was my hope, because I know that there was perhaps a lot of misunderstanding there, and unfortunately I don't think that any of that will ever be able to be resolved. However, if there was any hope of being able to have some kind of understanding there, I was hoping that she would be able to draw upon that experience, and then be able to learn from it, and then say, oh, maybe this is how Marko felt back then, and that's why he acted out, or that's why he acted the way he did. Now I get it. But I mean, I know that's a reach. However, sometimes when you've gotten that far, when you've gotten that far in a misunderstanding, sometimes the only thing you have is a reach. So Knight, thank you for dropping in. So long story short, for people who have just dropped in, after a lot of requests and communication from various people overnight, I have decided to pull the video presentation live stream that I'm going to be doing later on today. That video is going to be pulled, and I will not be airing it live. Again, the long and the short of it is because a lot of people have asked, and after a lot of conversation, a lot of comments, and a lot of discussion with various people, and a lot of feedback, I feel that even if I were to present the information, it would cause more discourse, and make people ask a lot more questions than it would solve any of the problems that are currently out there. And with Irie and I really, I guess she pronounces it Gezu, yeah. Gezu. Soap Eater. I'm just going to call her Soap Eater from now on. With Soap Eater and Irie, having relatively good mini debuts with their temp models, and 2 more to go. And then also with production Kawaii, them trying to move on and get their idol project on the way. We need to encourage the positive rebuilding of both. And my channel, as a lot of people have pointed out, is supposed to stand for protecting those who need to be protected, not to go out and attack others, right? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to use the opportunity to attack production Koi. Instead, I have put the work into the presentation. The information isn't going to go anywhere. It's there. It's always going to be there unless something happens where the information is needed. It doesn't have to be used. So, if the situation arises where the information is relevant, in order to protect the integrity of one of the 4, then it can be used. But if it doesn't have to be used, then it doesn't have to be used, and we can just move on. Welcome to the Wolfpack. Thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. I prefer my channel to be a welcoming environment. I know that with a lot of the activity recently, things haven't always been that way, and without people that have pointed out that without good people that like a lot of you that have pointed out, hey, I think you're kind of going astray with a lot of this stuff. We get it. You know that we see the problems that you're seeing, but unless they solve their own problems, we're just going to be beating our head against a brick wall, pointing at it. Yes, baby. Sorry, my cat knows that. Even my cat's like trying to cheer me up. I'm actually tearing up, guys. So I'm trying not to like actually cry, but I would prefer my channel to Genji-sama, welcome. I prefer my prefer my channel to be a welcoming environment, is what I'm trying to say, right? And when I quote unquote kind of hit it big with subscribers and people that were interested in seeing what I had to say, it was in defense and protection of Rusia, right? And then I think we did a bang up job doing that. We talked a lot when we we discussed that all the stuff that was happening with Rusia, with Miki and Nico, with Nazuna, and then the things that happened with the graduation of the girls from Gogo Nippon, with Pikami, and a lot of other things. And the channel's always been a place to hang out, a place for you know talking about the people that we care about, the people that we love. You know, uh, um, when things happen, it's a place to comfort each other. It's a place to unfortunately grieve when we have our favorite VTubers graduate, but we never ever use it as a launching pad to attack other people specifically, you know. Um, and the only exception to that has been when I specifically was asking Hololive and Yago, what the hell are you doing? You guys are supposed to be the icon, the role model of what a VTuber is supposed to be. Where are you? And luckily them and Niji were the leaders in finally doing something and making a public statement saying we're not going to put up with people trying to dox and slander our talent anymore, which was something compared to where everything was, so I mean that's something. But so just real quick, I want to scroll up. I know I've missed a lot here. Let's see here. So Beavers with how quiet. So yeah. So I just kind of getting back to that very last topic. Yeah, I do believe that Kawaii can recover and can make a comeback and recovery. It's a matter of I do think it's a matter of if their talent, if their remaining talent is as solid as they are with each other, they really need to focus on themselves as a talent group instead of outwardly and actually just focus on what they're doing and not react to anything else at this point, because it's kind of like what I was saying yesterday. The more and more that they do react to what is happening outside at this point, the more and more it will just seem like they're incriminating themselves. And I'm not saying that they are at this point, okay? I'm not throwing out any more insinuations. What I am saying is that the more that you talk at this point, the more that it can be perceived as incrimination. So at this point, if they really want to, and this is giving a personal opinion at this point, if they really want to, push everything forward, they need to block out everything else that's being said on social media, everything else that's being said out there. Let their managers handle that stuff. The talent worry about what they're doing with their gaming, with their projects, with their, presentation that's coming up in July, or is it June or July, with their idol project, and just focus on that, move that forward, and let everything else be handled by management. And that's it. You block everything else. It's kind of like how, I believe it was LBJ, LeBron. He used to turn off his phone and turn off social media when playoff time came around, and he didn't care what anyone else was saying. It was just, I'm worrying only about gaming. That's it. And then that was it. And then after, whether he won or lost, it wasn't until after that last game that he turned it back on. And that's what you kind of gotta do, especially if you're working on a project that big, is, you know, you don't care what anyone else says. If you have a really bad day, but you're still getting ready for like the big game, you know, you don't care about what anyone else says. You're just trying to get ready for the big game. You know, you have to have that kind of mentality. So yeah, so Knight, I hope I caught you up on everything. Right now I'm impressed with Hololive. It's not easy to get into what or what they do, what they say, but once the talent can keep up, yeah. Hololive is definitely flying at this point. Then let her have her fun. She's trying to escape harsh reality right now. I've subbed to her to check. I know her reaction to your mother was a bit professional. Yeah, so just to kind of get back to Charlotte right now. Back to your comment on Charlotte. Yeah, so, you know, Gazoo. Yeah. It's welcome in here. Yeah, yeah, Gensu-sama. Yeah, it is welcoming here. We try to make it welcoming here. Even the people that come in and try to throw shade, I always try to make it welcoming here. The only time that I get hostile towards people that throw shade is if I try to make it welcoming here. I give them a chance to speak their mind and they act completely obnoxious. I give them a second and a third chance to actually speak constructively and they just don't cooperate. Then I do tend to be unwelcoming. But other than that, it's really welcoming here. You know, I do have rules to my chat that do have a stipulation for immediate ban, but by and large, I do try to be welcoming here, as long as you don't come in here and start being immediately racist or anything like that. So okay, you take care. Thank you for dropping it, and again, thank you very much for the message that you sent. I did appreciate it. I do appreciate it, and I do appreciate you. And thank you so much for dropping in and listening for as long as you did, and thank you so much for staying. I hope you have a great day, and if you do check back in later for on the VOD, I do hope you can appreciate anything that you've missed. Okay, so you take care. Thank you so much. I do got about I'm gonna run over, but I do got about 7 minutes left, and then I do have to run. So I do want to just kind of try to tie everything up here just a little bit, because I do have a doctor's appointment in roughly about an hour, but I do have to get ready for it. So I am going to get my I'm going to get some steroid injections into my wrists and hands today. They do tend to kind of go numb for a little bit before it takes effect, but depending on like how those steroid injections feel later on this afternoon or this evening, I will try to either stream like Atomic Heart or something a little lighter tonight, in place of the video that was going to air. And that's pretty much to take care of the nerve pain that I have in my wrists and my hands. So, but they last for like 4 months, so it's really been really helpful. Um, Yeah, they tend to go well, and I rather have those than surgery because I had surgery on my left hand last year, and it took a year to recover completely from it. And even now, I still have to have the injections afterwards. So I mean, the damage was that bad. But I mean, it's at least now to a point where I can hold a pen in that hand without feeling, just obnoxious pain in it. And I can actually hold a tablet in the hand now, which is great because I have a drawing tablet that I hadn't been able to use until I had the surgery done. So, and I finally, got the drawing tablet, synced and worked up with my computer. So, I'm now, starting to try to learn how to draw, which will be really nice if I can learn because then I can actually start doing stuff for my channel too. But, yeah, Kawaii. Let's I do want to some things up here before I have to go. Kawaii does have some decent sponsors, which is really nice. Kawaii does have some larger sponsors, and I do think and this is my personal opinion based upon things that I quietly observe in the background, and also doing some private research on the side. Kawaii and Prison Project both have quote unquote shadow sponsors that that do randomly either show up or they are private donors that tend to sponsor both simultaneously. They also happen to be power donors to both of their Discord channels, and so they also happen to be significant players in both fields. So they have a lot of sway in both of them, and they also happen to be very friendly with most of the talent. And if you observe long enough, if you're like me where you tend to be more of an observer in chat than an actual interactor, you will see that they tend to talk to those people a lot more than other people in chat. But if you also happen to look at their Streamlabs donation page, most of the time if you compare them, you can see who the person is or the people are that are the top donors for each person, because they happen to be in the top 5 for the majority of them, and they use the same name, so it's pretty obvious who they are. I mean, when you're donating thousands of dollars to multiple people in the same agency, it's hard to miss, and it's like, okay, you're donating thousands of dollars, to multiple people in the same across multiple agencies, and they all acknowledge you and they always talk to you. It's it's hard to miss this, and you also happen to be an administrator, or have control over the quote unquote fan Discord servers. Yeah. Are you also on the board of directors or have private shares of the company by any chance? Uh, I know I'm speculating that on those last things I said, but it's it's like do you got money? I'm an independent VTuber. Can I have a little bit? you know. So, anyways, let's see. I really don't. A corporation would notice and want more. Yeah, they would notice. I would expect maybe that they would have like an expectation that you net a certain amount or something like that. But I mean that would really depend. That have I tried heat therapy? I do use heat therapy for my hands, but the thing is, with heat therapy, it tends to pool it tends to pool blood in cavities, and then that adds pressure to the nerves because the blood pools in those areas. Whereas if you put heat in there, it pushes the blood out, and then it actually clears those cavities. And even though it contracts the cavity as a whole, since it pushes the blood out, it actually releases the pressure, which is a lot more significant. And then it also numbs the nerve ending as a plus. So I know, yeah, Sony, yeah, Sony takes the money instead, and then they divvy out the money after taking a certain cut out of it. Yeah. I noticed that too. It's like you're paying $250 per per membership donation. But here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing about gifting out memberships like that. See, if you gift out that many, and they're not distributed in that stream, you automatically get refunded whatever is not taken. So say like you gift out like 50, and only 10 are taken, you're refunded 40. They refund you the cash amount. So like and we'll use like Sarah, for example. Sarah was gifted I think 20 some odd the other night, and I think like I only saw like 5 or 6 were taken. So if those aren't taken within a certain allotment while the gift offer is up there, then she only earns that amount that were taken at the offer period, and then the rest of that money gets refunded back to the donor. So it's what it shows up, and it's really nice at the time, but if the people aren't there to take it, those gifts don't get banked. So it's kind of sad in a way, because it would be nice if she would be able to bank those. That way, if someone else comes along and donates another 10, and then those 6 are banked with the 10, and there are 16 people that are all trying to get those memberships at the same time, then the ones that weren't used before could be used at the same time, and then all 16 could get in. But it doesn't quite work that way. But anyway, guys, I gotta run to get ready for my appointment. So, but I did just want to do this stream Guerrilla style to give everyone a heads up on what is happening, because I felt it fair to let everyone know why I was removing the stream for tonight and replacing it. I did say yesterday that I wanted to give you guys a heads up on what the programming would be for tonight's broadcast. So again, and recap, tonight's stream regarding Prison Project will be removed. It will not air as planned. The reasoning for it is because of multiple requests and conversations that I have had with various people, including normal people that are subscribers and regular viewers of my channel that have expressed concern and their own opinions towards me regarding the direction and also how it would positively impact both Prison Project and the 4 graduated members of Generation 3. Bearing those concepts in mind and wanting to have a positive impact on both parties and not using my channel, not weaponizing my channel, because that's not the intent of my channel. My channel is a place to welcome people. It's not a place to attack people. I'm very thankful to have viewers and subscribers to remind me of that. I'm very thankful for all of you who reminded me of that. And so with that in mind, I will be removing that tonight's broadcast and stream and replacing it with something more constructive. And we will be airing playing either like Atomic Heart or something else later on tonight once I get done with my appointment. I'll put that room up later tonight when I get back, and unless something comes up where that information will be relevant to be used in protection of the 4 girls that graduated, that information will be held and not be used for a future broadcast. Okay, so thank you guys so much for tuning in, and thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to everyone who has joined the channel. I appreciate all of you guys. I really do. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys very much for being who you are and reminding me to be who I am, and not losing sight of who I want to be and what I want this channel to be. I really do appreciate that a lot. You guys are great. All right, so Beavers, thank you so much for joining in. I know I miss you a lot with when I stream. But I do appreciate when you can join me. Better late than never. Amen. I appreciate you dropping in when you can. And also, I do appreciate the fact that despite, everything that's happened, you still drop in and you still talk to me and everything else. I know that my falling out with Prison Project and with production Kawaii hasn't been pretty. However, you're still here, and and I appreciate you. And despite all the stuff that's happened, you also helped me, not lose sight of who I want to be, and I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Okay, I really do. Yeah, I saw that you were lurking, and you and a lot of other people keep reminding me to be who I want to be and who I should be, and I thank you for it. I really do. Knight, you're always here, man. When you can be, thank you so much. Genju Susama, again, thank you so much for being here. Miss you. I know that you're not here anymore, but thank you so much for your messages. I know that you were harsh on me. You have every right to be harsh on me. And hey, you know what? You being harsh on me is exactly what helped me. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Who else? Beavers was here. Knight's here. Okay. That's all I have in my chat log right now. All the lurkers that came in. I know that there's a lot of people that lurked and did not talk, or just wanted to see what I had to say. Thank you all of you who lurking. Oh, you are here. Hey, you know what? I appreciate it. I really do. Sometimes tough love is what you need, and I appreciate it. You know, um, you don't always want to hear what you hear, and hey, you're never too old for tough love. You know what I'm saying? So it's all right. It's all right. You don't have to agree with everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I've said it before. You don't love everybody all the time. You can, but you can love everybody some of the time. But the fact is, even if you don't agree, you can still have that opinion and you can still respect it, right? And then you can look back at it later and say, hey, you know what? I was really mad at that guy for saying that, but he was right. And you can sit there, man. It's like, man, I really didn't like what you just said, but you're right, right? And even if I will not be the type. I mean, I think Suzu said this, but I think I remember her saying that she would never ever admit to being wrong. I will admit to being wrong. I will openly admit to it, and it's not a sign of weakness. It is. You are actually stronger for being the type of person to openly admit that you were wrong, because you can learn from that mistake. And I will admit to being wrong. All right. It does not mean that what I was going to present is erroneous or whatever. It means that, what I was going to present is wrong place, wrong time, wrong conversation. And it was misguided and misdirected. And what I should be doing right now is helping those girls, lifting up those girls, and wishing Production Kawaii, the best of their endeavors for their idol project that's coming up, right? That's what we should be doing. Right, spreading hate, spreading hate and chaos and even more confusion is not what is needed right now. Sometimes it's better to not lead by the sword. It's better to It's better to lead by the with your hand outstretched and not lead by the sword, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. And if my hand gets slapped away, then it gets slapped away. But my hand will be outreached first, right? That's what matters. That's the way it should be, right? So that's what we'll do. All right, so thank you guys. I really do. I'm just barely holding it together. I'm trying not to cry, man. I'm serious. I'm trying not to cry because you guys know, if you guys been with me long, I know all you guys have been with, at least the ones that have been talking, have been with me long enough to know that I'm also not afraid to cry on stream. So I'm trying not to cry on stream. So We'll do this. So we'll do this the right way. All right. I gotta run. I gotta run so I can get ready for my appointment So I'm gonna end stream here. I'm gonna pull the video down. I'll put up a room later when I get back on stream tonight. You'll see me put I'll put the room notice up on the community tab and on Twitter on what we'll do tonight, and we'll go forward like that. If anything does pop up that does relate to anything regarding the situation, we will look at it objectively first, and we'll discuss it. But we will not we will not automatically jump or pounce upon it as a opportunity to attack. We will do it the right way, like we should be, right? We'll do it the right way. So, again, thank you guys for reminding me of that. All right, so I gotta run. I'm gonna pull that down right now, and we'll talk again soon. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys have a great day or a great night or afternoon, whatever it may be for you. I love you guys all. Production Kawaii, if fans, Production Kawaii fans, if you are in attendance, thank you guys for listening. I hope you spread this message to whoever you may talk to, and let them know that this will not be happening. If you are in attendance, if you're in any of the talents have been in attendance, I hope that this will satisfy any of your concerns. Yeah, so we'll talk again then. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until then, guys, this is Marko Yamashita signing off. Peace.